And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Benched with Bubba, episode 831. Continuing our team-by-team previews to get you ready for the 2026 fantasy baseball season. We head to the NL West to talk Arizona Diamondbacks. A couple years ago, World Series team. Last year, not so much. We'll see how 2026 rolls. In order to help me break them down as our friends of mine, friends of the show, friends of everybody, you can find them over at ITL. It's in this league. For those keeping it short, their Patreon, which is awesome because it's so much fun. On Twitter at Bogman Sports. On Twitter at Is It The Welsh. Scott Bogman, Chris Welsh. How you doing, my friends?
What's up, Bubba? There's no crowd noise for us
and
at
Fantasy Pros. There's a million other things.
Very disappointing.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, we do things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't wait. Look, we love this episode. We get to talk all Arizona Diamondbacks with a San Francisco Giants fan. It's one of my favorite shows to do every single year.
Like the Lord intended. When you talk to the backs,
right.
make sure you're talking to a Giants fan.
100%.
There's at least 18 days a year where about 18 days a year we'll say that we're on the same page because 36 either when we're playing the Dodgers or you're playing the Dodgers, we can get along.
When the Giants one, do you just do the Giants one solo and just like talk to yourself when you do it? You should.
I should, but people don't want to hear me talk that much anyways. Mason comes on and it is literally
you, Mason, and Will Clark.
And just cigarettes,
the Lord above,
like Matt Chapman, Logan Webb talk.
Yeah, he just sits there with his Red Bulls and heaters, and we talk about how bad this team's going to be again. We turn the red light on and pretend that everything's okay. But how you boys doing? You guys want to plug what you got going on before we talk D-backs and get really excited about things?
Yeah, we're stoked. It's super, especially with the news today with them losing their closer. Find me at Is It The Welsh. In this league, baseball pod off and running. We just finished up like a rank series. We got a sleeper series. We got a bunch of cool ones. Our mock drafts. Check out the podcast in this league.com on the Patreon. Take you over there. Check out. I got prospect ranks, dynasty ranks. We've got our redraft. Access to us in there in our community podcast. Make sure you check out In This League. And then, of course, I'm over at Fantasy Pros doing all the baseball podcasts with Joe Pisapia. Joe Rico is jumping on a bunch of them. You kind of know how those series go from sleepers to breakouts. We're doing our ultimate guides right now for positional ranks. Churn it out, baby. It's baseball season. That's what I got going on. And Bogman has all of that going on, and then he has to deal with me, and then he's got to deal with like college football, and really just dealing with me is part of.
Yeah. Hey, look, I've been, through the college football season, I'm extremely busy doing all of college football and the NFL and all that stuff. So I catch up on baseball by reading myself the Fantasy Black Book, which both these guys are writers in, of course. So I've been checking that out and getting my catch up on, but just dropped my top 300 ranks over at Fantasy Pros and on our inthisleague.com. So check those out. And of course, doing shows with Welsh and then a lot of college football content, NFL content, NFL draft and dynasty and all that good stuff for Fantasy Pros and inthisleague.com. So at Bogman Sports, you can find me at all those places.
And he's always on Twitter, so go check him out. But the boys put out tons of content between their ITL and Fantasy Bros, you name it. Check them out. You'll enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy them. Let's talk Arizona Diamondbacks before we get into the players for 2026. Let's just take a step back. I ask every guest, what are your thoughts on how 2025 went for the D-backs? I'll start with the Welsh because I'm pretty sure this one will be pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, not so great. Zach Gallen, if he was, good at the beginning of the year, they might have had like a real opportunity. There was like that slight chance towards the end. I don't know. I mean, maybe with just like there's expectations meets, the results versus like what could have been. And all of that is just like weird equation to be like, it was disappointing. I would say the most disappointing part, I can't even like functionally talk about the Diamondbacks last year without thinking about this year and look at the contextually with who they were last year. They are no better this year. Like it's crazy to me. Like they were this team that's got these underperforming starters, absolute dog garbage bullpen, and then just overachieving hitters. And then this year it's like, hey, we are going to have to overachieve with our hitters. We got a couple 74-year-olds to play on the corner infield. And then while we're at it, we will have no bullpen. So like it was a disappointing year. A successful year this year could just make that be like a step. I'm worried that it's the part of a slide. And I'm a little bit, so I guess I turned it into more of what's coming up here. But, not making the playoffs, I think, for that Diamondback team when they're like top 10 in spending in baseball is pretty damn disappointing, on top of losing like guys like Corbin Burns and stuff. They can't get out of their own way. You can't spend $160 to $200 million and just keep not making the playoffs when you're in a division with a team that literally has, what's that, like the black card, like an unlimited credit card,
more money than God.
Yeah, and they can just do whatever they want at any time, and they can also manipulate it. They have like elements of the government. They can just manipulate it with whatever they want to do at any time. So I don't know. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I get it. That's why I want to start with you, Boggs. What are your thoughts about 2025 went?
Unhinged.
Look, I mean, one of my favorite movie quotes of all time just applied to the Diamondbacks last year. It's from Apollo 13, and it's when they're going through what they have enough power to run. And I know you guys are both annoyed at this. You've heard it a million times, but they're like, he goes, well, we can't afford all this power, lose the parachutes and then something. And he goes, well, John, if the parachutes don't go off, what's the point of all of this, right? That's the bullpen. And that's still the bullpen. It's the worst bullpen in baseball by a lot.
It's worse.
And it's worse. And Andrew Saalfrank was supposed to be the closer to start the year until AJ Puck and Justin Martinez can come back and pitch a little bit at the end because they both went through Tommy John. And he just had shoulder surgery and is going to miss the entire season. So thank God they traded Blaze Alexander for CJ Stroud or whoever this guy is, Cade Stroud.
CJ Stroud.
So, I thank God we have something back there, but it is disgusting. And if I have to see Andrew Hoffman and his stupid dreadlocks in this bullpen again, I'm going to lose it. I will lose it. But the rotation is not as good as it was last year. If they get Gallen back, it would be about the same. The lineup is still decent, but Lourdes is going to be out for a chunk of the year.
Everything is worse. Here. You just said everything is worse.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is okay, but it's not as good as last year.
I mean, it is okay, but it's not good. And the bullpen makes it everything
the guy
bad.
saying everything is fine and everything's burning.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the lineup is good enough. I think the rotation might be good enough to make a playoff run, but the bullpen absolutely pushes them all the way out of it.
Well, it'll be interesting as like Welsh's comment of being a top 10 spending team not making the playoffs. Welsh, trust me, you can do it. I watch it almost every season right now in San Francisco. So don't you worry about it.
I mean, at least you have like a great sight of leadership.
Rings.
That's and it's gonna like put them in like a right direction. Like I would, please give me Buster Posey to put my hopes into. Like I'll take Buster Posey all day, every day with it.
Trust me, I'm a lot happier the last let's say 18 months since he started to do things. Just because there's a plan. At least there's a plan.
Signing.
There's a plan.
Yeah.
Oh, Bogman. All right, let's go to the team here. A player that I love and I know you guys love. And, there's once upon a time that Welsh had to stay 100 feet away from Corbin Carroll. Corbin Carroll last year, after everyone was worried about the shoulder situation, still worked out 31-32 at 259. Kid's good, real good, Bob. And he's going around ADP 8.5 over the last week or so. We'll start with you on this one, Boggs, because we know Welsh's love and affection. Where are we at on Carroll? Is he worth the 8.5? Is there a ceiling? Have we seen it? Like, he's really good, so I don't know what we can pick apart here.
No, I got him at 6. I mean, he's power, speed. You want the average to come up a little bit, but he's 100 runs, a whole bunch of RBIs as well because he plays every day, plays good defense, team leader, and he's ascending right now. So there is still meat on the bone there for some growth. So everything's there for Corbin Carroll. So I don't know how you wouldn't like him.
Yep, love him as well. Welsh, what do you got on Mr. Carroll?
Yeah, of course. 30-30 season, the jumps he made, obviously, like there's a health perspective, which is really funny. The amount of people that talked themselves out of Carroll last year because they're like, this mystery, even though it was never acknowledged, or like this shoulder thing, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like, okay, then if this past year was a healthy year, he doubled his barrel percentage, 7 to 14%. We're in elite territory. Max EV up into an elite top 4 percentile of the league. Average EV up over 92. That was a 3 mile per hour increase. Hard hit rate exponentially up. You get the gist of it. Like he was able to fully make contact. The weirdest part about him was he really was like not stealing bases at an aggressive clip. And I wonder what that was about. I don't know if that's going to be a continued thing. If there was something about maybe maintaining health. But like, you should feel great about Corbin Carroll, despite the batting average stuff. His Ks went up a little bit because I think also you were just kind of seeing the aggressive hitter that he was. His pull aired percentage went up. So again, what's magic formula? Barrel percentage, hard hit, pulled air percentage. Guess what? Check, check, check. Big checks. 14% elite, 49% close to elite. And then I think it was like 20. I just went away from it. Like 22. Yeah, 22.9% pulled air percentage. Those are elite freaking numbers with a guy that we know can steal 50 bases if he wants to, because he's done it 2 years before. So yeah, I think like he's a top 5 type of guy. There's just so much value in the first round. I love getting the power speed combo players together. I also think there's more room for growth in the batting average. His XBA was slightly higher. So I'd be hopeful that maybe that can tick back up. If he gets to the 280 range, he's vying for like a top 3 overall player. It's just there's so many good players. What's your flavor? Obviously Soto's elite. Ellie's floating out there. So yeah, I don't even think it's a question. Top 8. I think you can go anywhere from 4 to 5. The only thing I have noticed with myself, I did this in the last mock, that like if I get too locked in, I get a little locked into 2 outfielders early, and then I find myself like annoyed a little bit later in the draft because it's like where I might want to jump back into the outfield market in, let's say, the 6th or 7th round or something like that. Then all of a sudden I'm like, well, I've got 2 or I've got 3 already. So I'm not sure Corbin Carroll's the type of player where I would be like, okay, I got Corbin and Ellie. Now I'm going to make the decision because Ellie's a shortstop or anything like that. But he's absolutely elite player. He's pretty much the only Diamondback I think that doesn't come with a question, and that's including like Ketel Marte.
All right, just real quick, word association. No, just name the player. No discussion. Do you want Carroll or Acuna?
Carroll.
Easy.
Carroll or J-Rod?
Carroll.
Okay, yeah, he's going between those 2. That's why I just wanted to bring it up because I don't disagree. I think Carroll's got massive appeal. They all do, like you said, it's first-round picks, but yeah.
Let me ask you, what is your order of those 3?
Carroll, J-Rod, Acuna.
Is there any tier break in there, or are they all grouping? Because I think there's a tier break between Carroll and Julio versus Acuna. I think Acuna I'm a tier lower on.
Yeah, I'm just terrified of Acuna. Like
Same.
I always say, like Bloom and I say a lot, like we're okay being wrong on certain things. It's just the way we are, and like I'm okay if Acuna balls out. I'm gonna love watching it on TV every night. Like great, like it's awesome. I'm terrified of just like, do they hold him back for his own good? Like you look at his overall career, he hasn't really played full seasons ever. Like it's just isn't who he is. He's done like once. He just if you look at games played per season, it's just not a thing for him. So. Yeah, for that level of a pick is tricky. All right, let's go to a tough second base position where Ketel Marte is one of the top second basemen off the board right now. His ADP is around 41, 42 over the last week of baseball. We know the power's good, 28 home runs again last year. Doesn't run a ton, hit for an average of 283. So you're getting 4 good categories out of him at a tough position. Welsh, we'll start it with you. Ketel Marte, are we in at that ADP?
Wait, what was the number you said again?
Around 42.
Oh, around 42. Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I've seen in some spots that he's a little bit higher than that. Yeah, I'm an all in for Ketel. I think one of his worst enemies is just his head sometimes. Outside of there's some injury things that flow around him. He hasn't had 600 bats over the last 3 years, but he's elite at a position that is less than elite. There's a lot of like poorish players or opportunities where you got to take risks on bounce backs, either like on young players or we just did that second base show today on Fantasy Pros with Chris Towers. And it was like Marcus Simeon's kind of interesting because he's super late and but it's like bounce back. There's no bounce back on Ketel. There's no worry. There's no thought process. He's one of, I would say, only 3 players at the position that it's a true set it and forget it. So if you're able to like realistically get him in the 3rd round, you're getting a high end space of 4 categories, especially if he's going to be hitting 3 and you're going to have, Corbin Carroll and Geraldo Perdomo in front. Perdomo scoring runs at a crazy clip. Ketel Marte, I think, or Corbin Carroll, I think they said, wasn't it like first to home? I think he scored the most or second to home. It was just like now I'm forgetting what it was, but like Corbin Carroll scores a lot of runs. That's what he does. Great opportunities for players in front of him for Ketel to succeed. So it's not just like median foreign categories, it's 4 high-end categories. I do worry about the like the softness, if you want to call it, with him. Like he misses time. He's got to like go home for a little
what is
bit.
Bickley
He's gotta,
here?
like, he loves to gamble. Nobody loves to gamble, by the way, more than Ketel Marte out in Arizona. I have a friend who has seen him no less than like 7 times at the well. He likes to legally gamble. Yeah, he likes to legally gamble. He likes to play roulette, where Saul Frank likes to play on DraftKings. So that's part of the problem.
Gets out there at Talking Stick playing
all the time.
roulette.
I have like 30 photos from last year of my friend who went out after a game, and Ketel, because Ketel doesn't hide it, by the way. He wears pink and bright, flashy stuff, and he's out at the high-end roulette tables.
He's at a Bad Bunny halftime show.
Yeah, kind of. But like my point is, like, there's a little bit of that soft, not that that's soft, by the way, but like there's just that thing that floats around with Ketel where you're like, playing time, invested, blah, blah, blah. Like, man, if we could get the 600 plus at bats, and like if we could get him all in, could we get 100 and 290 and 35 homers? Like, that's within the realm of possibility. But like, he's just so elite at a 43 cost. I actually think that's like a great deal in the 3rd round. And then, like I said, and if we're talking like NFBC 15 man, obviously if it's a 12 team, you're getting him in the 4th round. That's a no brainer. I just see him go higher. But yeah, check off for me for sure.
Hey, Boggs, I know you've always been a Marte guy. Like, you've been one of the higher guys in a year in and year out when we talk rankings. Like, obviously, give your thoughts on Marte at that ADP, but I'll toss in there because Welsh mentioned the soft factor. Like, all these trade rumors, how do you think that's going to flow with him and not being kind of diva-esque, I guess?
They're over now. I mean,
are they though? Are they?
Yeah, I think they are.
That's why they brought in Santana too, by the way.
Yeah, it is.
I think they did. They literally
really?
like a leader. No, 1,000%. The word on the street here is that they wanted to bring in a locker room guy, which Santana's a locker room leader.
That's amazing. That makes sense. I couldn't figure out why they signed him.
A similar countryman, older, someone instead of Ketel being the older statesman, someone that older that Ketel might listen to and look up to a little bit more.
Arenado.
Yeah, those are legitimate things that they brought with.
Got 2 babies. Got it.
Yeah, I know it sounds silly.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, no, it does sound silly, but that is where we're at with Ketel. But I think, if you want to take a second baseman high, it's Ketel or Jazz, right? So I have Jazz slightly higher. I think he has the higher ceiling. I think Ketel has the higher floor. But it's really a coin flip between them. It is kind of pick your poison. If you want the batting average, go with Ketel. If you want the stolen bases, you go with Jazz. I think that's what it eventually boils down to, of picking those guys. I do think in most spots, you're going to have to get them in the 3rd instead of in the 4th, as you mentioned. So, it really depends on how you go about taking second baseman. Is there someone you like beyond these top 2 guys? Because it is real thin, and the bottom out is there for a lot of second basemen as well. So these guys both do have injury issues, Ketel and Jazz. But I think I would like to take these guys, but I have found myself passing over them for guys in their area.
Yep, that makes sense, because I've taken Jazz in one draft. I have not taken a Ketel yet. Not saying I'm opposed to it, but I just have not.
Is it because of stolen bases?
Yeah, I'm usually just a guy early in my first X amount of picks. I want as many 5 category guys as I can, but maybe I'll change my mind here sooner than later. All right, let's talk about Geraldo Perdomo. He's the guy that just burst onto the scene last year out of pretty much, it felt like nowhere, but some people saw little bits coming up. I think anybody saw 2027. Yeah, no one saw 2027, 290, 98 runs and 100 RBIs. No one saw that coming. Maybe improvements from previous seasons. With those improvements, his ADP is up to about 86 over the last 7 days. So you got to pay a lot higher price than before. But at the same time, if we're talking shortstop tiers, that's one of the cheaper guys that might get you the power and speed. Boggs, where you at on Perdomo? You watched him more often than not last year. You both did. But I just still find a hard time believing what we saw last year is who he is.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always a question. I do have him in my top 10 shortstops. You don't have him in your top 10?
No, I have him in my top 10. That's fair. Like, it's just,
yes.
I just have it. I struggle because some people are saying like, oh no, he's going to be 2020 or 2030 like year, and you're like, I have a hard time still getting there.
Are you like Perdomo or Willy Adames more, Bubba?
I like Adames.
No.
I like it. I like the total 5 category picture of Perdomo. I like it if I'm needing power already because I went and took something else. I went pitching heavy. I'll probably go with Adames in that regard. But
Doesn't sound like an answer.
Why do you want Perdomo? He only hit 65 points better than Adames last year. No big deal.
let's see. But the question is that who he is. He had 273 and 246 the years prior to that. Like,
he's a developing player, right? Like, I don't think the numbers that he had last year are 100% repeatable, right? And I think it might be a bit ridiculous to ask him to do that. But he's projected to hit 3 right now. It's a great spot to be in for runs and RBI, and also maybe some stolen base opportunity. And we know the glove keeps him on the field every single day. So you're going to get a lot of at-bats. The dude is a team leader. I don't know if all of this is going to stay, but I would say the power is probably there. Maybe the batting average slips a little bit. Maybe doesn't steal as many bases, right? Repeatability is definitely in question. I think there's no doubt that you have to have that at least in the back of your mind. But, I mean, you know, he showed us who he was, and he's a developing player. He's still young. I think he's going to be 26 going into this season. So, you know, should be peaking. Repeatability is a question, but I think if everybody thought he was going to repeat these numbers, he would be picked in the top 5 shortstops, right?
That's fair.
So, you know, I just don't think that we shouldn't go that far, but we've seen it one time already. It was 98 and 100 with 20 bombs and 27. So, very good numbers, but you do have to question the repeatability. That is very fair.
What's his ADP that were you doing
85.
NFBC? 85?
Ryan has a live ADP tracker. So the last 7 days in 15 team draft and holds, it's 86 right now.
Who is Ryan? We only know
Bloomfield. Sorry.
It's like saying Chris. Like, what?
Yes, like saying Brian. I get it.
Mother.
But real quick before I get there, I do want to mention, like, if you look at projections per se, Perdomo's hitting like 20 points higher than Adames. Adames has like 20 more home runs than Perdomo. Perdomo has 15 more. Like, I guess it just depends. Like you mentioned the Jazz versus Cattell argument earlier. This is kind of a similar argument, I think.
I'm kind of torn on Perdomo a little bit. I'm actually slightly leaning that the cost isn't great because it's such a position that's so like boisterous on counting stats. Like, you know, you can fall over yourself into like a 2020 guy. You know, you're 20 spots, 15 spots, a round and a half off of a guy like Zach Neto, and you can get that 25-25. Like, there are things that I believe in Perdomo. I think he's a phenomenal points league player. I think he can fit a lot of good team builds. I think, again, like the batting out, like I've been trying to correct this. Something I really failed at the last couple of years is just getting like absolutely insane about like, I got to get my homers and I got to win this. And then all of a sudden it's like, I'll get to a point where I've just like, I can't come back from batting average. No matter what I do, I can't come back from it. And those high batting average guys, not always, will tend to kind of come with runs. So it's like, I'll find myself potentially being kind of behind the 8 ball on 2 categories already, that like when you can find real chip in players that can help in the batting average department that aren't like 1 or 2 category slugs, then I think like that's a big positive. Why I think there's repeatability in his game. I mean, XBA, XWOBA, tippy top of the league, his overall just like plate discipline. The guy walked more than he struck out. Some interesting things too. First and second half, same amount of home runs. And he also hit double the home runs on the road than he did at home. And, you know, like Arizona is a pretty hitter friendly ballpark. So the way he makes contact, I think, is like pretty encouraging. The way he got the ball in the air and pulled the ball creates some sustainability. He doubled his barrel. You know, the hard hit's just not there. He's going to get some scrapers. The projections have him at 13 homers, 21 stolen bases, 90 runs, 262. If we're being honest, that's not really worth the top 100. Is there a world where I think he can get to like 15 homers, 25 stolen bases, maybe get 100 runs, and maybe those RBI, maybe they're really off on those RBI. If he is out hitting 60 RBI is laughably stupid with Caroline Cattell hitting in front of you. So like, I think there's a realm of possibility where Perdomo could get within 90% of production from last year. I just don't think I'm willing to make that bet unless I'm really trying to compensate in a batting average department. Maybe I went with, I've toyed around with this build. What if I went with like a Junior Caminero, Nick Kurtz build at the very top? all power. There's some really inherent batting average risk, especially with Nick Kurtz. You guys have probably talked about, everybody knows the XBA and stuff. And what if I like have this, this really big built-in power, 40 plus homers from both of these guys. I go some pitching. Maybe I get another stolen base guy a little bit later. And then I'm just like, I just want to protect myself. That's where like I might prioritize a guy like Perdomo over a few of the other shortstops, maybe, but it's like Corey Seager's around that place and he hits for average. So I think at the end of the day, like I probably am more of a fade to Perdomo than not. But I think people thinking that there's no chance of repeatability, I just think that's still, you just don't watch him. Like he is an elite contact hitter. He is not Luis Ariz. He gets the ball in the air. He's in a hitter friendly environment, and he's got two of the best run scorers in front of him if he's hitting 3.
And you can't measure this, but he's like first guy in, last guy out too. Like he's just always
grit
out there for
he's
everybody.
Gamer. He's gamer.
Very gritty. But I will say the realistic downside would be he moves way lower in the lineup. That would be the thing. It's like he struggles in the beginning. Lourdes comes back. They just stick Lourdes at 3 and they move him down, way down in the orders. So that is the realistic downside for a guy that's only done this for 1 year. But the upside is he's hot that first 6 weeks. They're not taking him out of the top of the lineup.
One thing I'd argue against that is when you have Alec Thomas on your team, you'll never hit 9.
I didn't say he was going to hit 9. I said he's going to hit lower in the lineup.
Jordan Lawler on your team, he's not hitting 8, so he's not hitting 9.
Carlos Santana,
Carlos Santana. So now we're no lower than 6. And then Gabby Moreno, like
Carlos Santana's not hitting every day. So
I think the real question. I think the real question, not Perdomo versus Willy Adames, because you're just picking on my Giants. It's Perdomo versus CJ Abrams. CJ Abrams goes 20 picks ahead of him. I think that's way more similar of a type, like prototype, than like the joke you were trying to make on me.
Yeah, well, I was just trying to pick on you.
No, I know. That's why I didn't care, because I saw where you're going with that, and I'm going to fight for my man, but I understand.
I got Abrams ahead of him.
If we're looking, I have Abrams ahead.
Yeah, but value. I think he's meaning
should they
like
be that far apart?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think CJ Abrams, I had questions about him because all of a sudden he was one of those guys where it was like, sometimes I'm a product. I just barrel and hard hit.
Also saw him at Talking Stick.
Yeah. Speaking of gambling, him and Cattell could hang out.
Cattell at least makes his curfew.
Yeah. At least he's not until, 30 in the morning. Like Abrams was one of because I'm a product of like barrel and hard hit and start to look at that. And then it's like, okay, what's the repeatability? Abrams was able to do it for 3 years where it was like, it wasn't barreling or hitting the ball at these crazy ways, but what he was doing is he optimized his game into getting the ball in the air and being able to pull it. And he really started to build this baseline of like, looks like you can count on 15 homers and you can count on elite stolen bases. You just can't count on, great productivity around in his lineup and stuff like that. So I think like I trust Abrams way more than Perdomo to do it, but back to what a Bogman statement, if Perdomo breaks right to what he did last year, Perdomo's going to rank in the top 3, like top 35, maybe like as a top 2 or 3 overall shortstop. If he hits 290, goes like 95, 95, 20, 20, that's a top 2 round player.
And then you're going to have repeatability. I mean, his stock is going to shoot through the roof.
It'll skyrocket.
He was a top 20 player in the player. I think he was top 10 last year.
So. And that might be an argument to say like, hey, listen, yes, it was 1 year, but I'm willing to say that the adjustments he made, if that fall off is similar to Abrams, it's better. Like if he's 15 homers, if he could steal a few more bases, the run and RBI really seems stickier than projections are letting it to be. And like, what the hell are they having him project to hit? 262? I mean,
that gets really low.
Get the hell out of here. That's just like I don't know. To me, that's curves. That's like 3-year curve. They're not
3-year. They're questioning repeatability as well. Is what it comes down to.
Yeah. So I guess there's like less repeatability in Perdomo's game based on your question versus CJ Abrams.
I think there's a similar skill set though. That's why I think it's actually legit. Like I wouldn't be shocked come season's end. They're like they're in the same ballpark.
That's a really tough one. Like my default answer would probably be like neither, but that's not what you're looking for.
I love CJ. Like if you miss that like on the top ones and you can get CJ at pick 65, so you're now paying a 4th round pick and a 15, 5th, 6th round in shallower leagues. Like that's a lot to like about that. But then just for the conversation points that we're having here, it's well, if you like waiting that long, what's waiting another 20 picks? Getting a guy that might be the same player.
Yeah, and I'm probably like Woods waiting a little bit longer and going, into the next range of guys. Like, absolutely. If you give me Jeremy Pena outside the top 100,
Dansby Swanson, give me a lot of those guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Zero problem.
Exactly.
Problems. All right. Now that we got the 3 top players out of the way, let's have some fun talking.
Let's talk about the losers.
Gabby Moreno. This is a guy that everyone's had high hopes for. Will only be 26 this year. I'll say that much. Can't stay healthy to save his life. When healthy, though, last year, especially at 285, 9 homers. The profile looks good, but again, can't stay healthy. ADP's 172. Boggs, where are you at on Gabby Moreno?
Yeah, I mean, look, Gabby Moreno is your second catcher in a 2-catcher league, and he's your second catcher because he's going to hit 285 or 275 or somewhere in there. He's not going to kill you anywhere. I really don't like the power. Obviously, there's not a lot there. I would like to see some more pop from him, and I know he's been working on that this offseason. That's the main thing he's been working on, and he gets hurt. So you have injury concerns. You have just pedestrian numbers, but he is that perfect catcher that you're going to take, and he's not going to tank your average. He's not going to, if you're in a strikeout league, he's not going to strike out a ton. Like he's going to be fine. So that's kind of what Gabby Moreno is. He's innocuous. He's your second catcher. You stick him in and you kind of forget about him until he gets hurt. So
what about you, Welsh? Where you at on Gabby?
Catchers. I'm down that things could really go his way. I would say this. He is probably a target in a 2-catcher league. I'm just not sure the juice worth the squeeze in any single catcher stuff. But like to your point, he reads off like a guy that's ready to do bigger things. An increased barrel percentage every single year he's played, an increased hard hit percentage. He doesn't strike out a bunch. Really got the ball in the air and doubled his pull aired percentage. So he was able to lift the ball this year in a short amount of time and pull it with a 43 hard hit rate, which is not like super shabby, and low strikeout. So it's like, if a guy like that is going to be able to lock that in on a regular basis, hits the ball over 90, it's like 90.3 or something average exit velocity. He just makes a ton of contact. It doesn't make a bunch of mistakes. So if he were to play like 130 or 40 games or something like that, I legitimately think he could hit 20 homers. He's the type of offensive catcher, if things were going right, that you could put him at 3. He could be one of those guys that's like a 3-hole hitter because he hits lefties, he hits righties, he does all of that. The problem is he just doesn't do it consistently. Like you say, he's always hurt. He's always rehabbing. Some rehab twice last year. Miggy Montero was golf carting him around during rookie ball last year.
Like rehab more than Charlie Sheen. This guy
lives at Salt River Fields, and like that process of missed time and injuries, and then it goes in and being kind of incomplete into games. Like a healthy season, Gabby Moreno has a chance to be a top 10 fantasy catcher, but making the bet on it in a single catcher league, I just don't really think is worth it. In a 2-catcher league, I totally, because like you saying 171, I'm like, like gross. Yeah. Like, but that's NFBC. That's 2-catcher stuff where catchers and closers are vastly vaulted up. Yeah. Like if he's like catcher, like 17, 18 or something like that, like I definitely think you can do it. I think his peripherals read off as somebody that a breakout can happen if he's healthy. I'm just, I'm not sold that the health is going to be there, but I really hope it is. That team loves him. I mean, he is. Corbin Carroll just screams about him all the time. Everybody, I think he might be the most beloved player on the Diamondbacks, if we're being honest, between everybody. I mean, like we love Corbin Carroll and stuff, but like from an internal team perspective, he is so beloved and kind of like a team leader. He just needs to have 400 at bats, have 500 at bats, please. Let's see that, and then he would be worthwhile.
Lance Lynn hates him. I know that.
Yeah, Lance Lynn.
Why does Lance Lynn hate him?
Because he hit he was the first of the 4 bombs off of Lance Lynn.
Yeah, the whiplash. And I agree with Gabby. Like in a single catcher league, if he starts hitting, pick him up off the wire, he shouldn't even be drafted. But in a 2-catcher league, he's got that juice. To your point, that if he puts it together, because there is like a little more pop than we're thinking. A great batting average. Like,
well, are you taking Moreno or Teal? Ooh,
like
there
Teal.
You go.
I like
son.
Teal for the speed. I like Teal for the speed, but Alejandro Kirk and Gabby, their profiles are very similar. Kirk's just played more games, obviously, so he's actually shown us what he can do in the full season twice, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably go like Kirk, I think Teal is going to just have more pop than
I love Teal,
Gabby
more
at
pop
this
and
point.
speed.
Yeah, I do too. But I'll say this. Here's what's interesting, because I really like your statement of like, if you don't like your catcher early on and he goes off, you pick him up. I want to say that's always my strategy. It's like, I'm not going to invest. I'm going to take a late catcher, except this year's like when you see Adley Rutschman as like the 11th catcher going off the board, it's going to be
interesting this year.
It's going to be a little tougher for me. And like, there's some platforms, I think like NFBC won't have him quite yet, but like Ivan Herrera, that's a target of mine. He'll get the catcher eligibility. Hopefully, I mean, it's take 20 games in FBC, I guess. But like the back end of catching is more interesting than it's ever been. That I feel like, even though I want to say like, oh, totally, I'll take a Kirk and then I'll just dump him for a Moreno if things work out. I'm finding myself more often than not actually getting an Adley or an Ivan Herrera or someone like that I think has more staying power because they're being pushed down by players like, Augusto Ramirez and stuff like that. Like the position has leveled out. And it's also, there's this whole discussion of like, do you want to pay the Joe's RPV value of a player like Cal Raleigh, who's so uniquely special? And then to me, it's like, after that, I mean, I think Ben Rice is kind of in his own territory, but then there's like 10 guys that are all just really good. So in like a 12 team, you can really live in a pretty good space with those catchers. And if I'm playing in a 15 team, do I really want to do streaming when I could get an Adley at 11? And then if I'm playing in a 2-catcher league, the same question. So that's why I think I'm more likely to probably live in the 9, 10, 11 catcher range instead of streaming. So Gabby might be tough for me in some formats outside of 2-catcher.
Yeah, I agree. Like I primarily play 2 catchers, and I love my catchers, and I don't mind taking one early, but you don't have to as much this year, it feels like. So
yeah,
we shall see. Let's talk about one of the new additions of the not St. Louis Cardinals, the Arizona Diamondbacks now, because they took him for a bag of balls, it felt like. The soon-to-be 35-year-old Nolan Arenado, who will be apparently a mentor in the clubhouses. 12 homers, hit 237 last year. Was hurt a lot last year for the first. He's been perennially a pretty healthy guy. And this is one where if you like him, he's free. ADP's 374 over the last month. I still won't click the button, but whatever. We'll start with you, Welsh. What are your thoughts on Arenado?
Man, this is going to test one of my, I think it might be a little homery. Like I might be a little Pollyanna because I've been pretty firmly anti Nolan Arenado for a while. He has shown you like that things are going in a bad direction. His bat's been getting longer over the last couple of years. Like if you go and look at like bat length, swing length, it's one of the longest swings in baseball. And that's attached to like this like zone where sometimes your swing gets long, like you actually might want to like slow it down, so you have more control. I just feel like he doesn't know where he is while his swing is getting long. And we've just seen a lot of like poor results, but we are a second straight year into a lot of drive line work that he's been putting in. The Arizona is a pretty hitter friendly environment for right-handed hitters. Cardinals ranked 12th, just median, just pretty much average around the length. Diamondbacks are number 2 overall right-handed ballpark factor. It's a really good place to hit doubles. That seems like that's going to be kind of his space. Can he walk into 20 homers? Yeah, I think that's a possibility. He could kind of bounce back. I mean, last season, 12 homers and 400 at bats. He's 2 years removed from 26 homers. It's a little too Pollyanna. It's definitely for the NFBC bigger spaces. There's just such a good lineup there, though. Again, if you go back and we talked about the top 3 in the lineup, if Arenado's hitting 4, if he's sitting there at 4, and you got bases juice with Cattell and you've got Carroll, like there are a lot of good run opportunities. He's just gonna have to be healthy. We're gonna have to see some of the work from Driveline. I'm not 100% sure that it's there. I think the safer edge is, like you said, maybe you just don't click the button. But I do think you got to pay attention to a guy that's not striking out anymore, really hitter-friendly environment, has definitely been trying to work through that bat speed, and maybe like the pressure of like what this offense brings, maybe he can change his approach a little bit. That's like my positive attitude to it. I did end up pushing him up in some ranks, but like he'll never get drafted in like a 12-team head-to-head categories or probably a lot of standard roto leagues. NFBC is the place where I might play around with that. I mean, because third base stinks. Third base is not good this year. So like there's the possibility you could run into a 20 homer season, but you really would need him to hit like 260, and he's XBA was 245. It was better than he hit last year. So I don't know. You just got to kind of dream on stars here that it's like a new environment, and some of the offseason work he's been doing is really going to bring this new production. But like, what is it really worth? It's probably not worth it for most fantasy people. So I'm a little optimistic.
Yeah, and a draft and hold is like your second or third baseman, so it kind of makes sense. Like it's a depth piece. Boggs, where are you at on Arenado, man in the hot corner in Arizona?
Yeah, they're kind of in the same spot. I mean, what are you hoping for here, right? Like, this is a guy that's probably going to end up on and off the wire in most, regular leagues, your 12 mans or your 15 man without a crazy bench. He's probably just going to be an in and out of the lineup guy. Projections have him for closer to 15, 16, pretty much every place. The average coming up a little bit, 60, 70, somewhere around there. Fine, right? Like an okay CI, an injury fill-in type of guy, but not someone you're actively pursuing. Like you said, you're probably just not clicking the button too many times unless you're just in a real bad spot at either CI or you waited way too long at third base or whatever it is.
Bubba, let me ask you. Boggs said, what are you expecting? He is 2 years removed from a 26 homer season. That season, he hit 266, 26 homers, 93 RBI. What percentage would you put that he can reach? Let's just round it 25, 90, 260.
That's probably like the upper 10-15%.
Okay, so relatively low.
Like the way he was going last year, say he plays his normal 145, he's probably hitting you 16, 17 homers. Are still fine. Like where you're taking him in ADP, it's fine. But to go where you were about 25, 90, not saying it's not impossible. We've seen these guys like go nuts, like Springer and company. But you're talking like upper 10%.
I would say though that like if you do look at projections, they've got around 130.
By the end of this, Welch is going to talk himself into the D-backs being good.
Yeah, I mean, my God,
this is where we're going.
I'm not. We haven't talked about the bullpen, Bubba. We haven't talked about the bullpen. But I just want to point out, like when you do see like the Bad X, I'm looking at the Bad X has got him at like 250. Like that brings some optimism that they think the plate discipline can stick, that you can hit for a good average. Maybe a few things click here. Like, I don't still think it's out of the realm of possibility that he puts up like 75 to 80 RBI, hits 20 homers, and hits like 250 to 255. And guess what? That is fantasy serviceable. I'm not sure that's quite corner infield for some leagues, but deeper stuff. Like, this is the best opportunity for him to offensively kind of fly a little bit. But, he's also like falling knife is 30.
Yeah, if he can bring the power back up, then great. But the last 2 years after that year, his ISO was 193 that year where he hit 26. It was 123 2 years ago in 2024, 140 last year. His career's, I believe, 225. So if he can bring the power up, there's stuff to like here, but he's old. He missed a lot of time last year. Like it doesn't usually move in that direction outside of David Ortiz.
You were about to Big Daddy it. You're like, oh, gross. Yeah. He's old. It is old. Ball.
I mean, what is his 5-year plan? Yeah, I mean, honestly, what is it? Is it to hit homers? Because I don't think it is.
Yeah, but that's the thing that I think that like that's the interesting thing is if you look at the team. I mean, the most recent couple last two, and God, I'm sorry we're talking so much about him, but if you look at the last 2 years.
So
I know.
I mean, my God, Welsh, you're filibustering here on.
No, but like I do think there's interesting. But if you look at the team, he was around the last 2 years. It's a bunch of like,
yeah, motivation could have been an issue. Yeah,
but like you're going on to a team where like he even said, I think Foul Territory was talking like, what is your plan to be there? And he's like, kind of want to like check it out, stay in the back. I want to help people. Like he was in a leadership role in St. Louis. He's not in a leadership role here. You have an established run of like Ketel Marte, Corbin Carroll, guys that get on base,
Carlos
guys
Santana.
That run. I wonder if
Shut up, Bubba.
I just wonder if there's an average RBI thing in there for him with some serviceable homers. I guess I'm trying to just put a little stamp. If he's good, I get to I tell you, I told you so. If he's not, forget about this.
I also get to say I told you so. So I get to do a lap.
Luckily, there's like only one more guy in the offense that's really worth a conversation. The rest are like, keep walking.
Perfect. Pavin Smith is a guy I've always had a soft spot for power, but never gets the playing time or the consistency, I guess. And then when Carlos Santana came in, I'm like, well, there goes that as well. Because now Pavin Smith's either DHing or platooning in the outfield, or who knows what he's doing. But like, I really do believe there is a power bat in there somewhere. just never puts it fully together. And if you like him in deeper formats, his ADP is 489. Boggs, we'll start with you on this one. What are your thoughts on Pavin Smith now that his playing time's up in the air once again?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted it to happen for Pavin. I just don't know if it ever really is, right? Like, the playing time could be boosted a little bit by Blaze getting traded for a reliever. So, because you might have a little more time. DH is going to be kind of an open spot until Lourdes comes back as well. So, there'll be some at bats for him, and I would like to see him get a full assortment of at bats. But he'll have more at bats this year than he's ever had, I feel like, maybe, but I don't know if it's going to be so much. And the last time, in 2021, he did have 545 plate appearances. He only hit 11 bombs. So I would like it. He's very good against righties. He's heavy side platoon. We like that in deeper leagues, but outside of deeper leagues, I'm probably not going to be super optimistic about Pavin.
What about you, Welsh? You a Pavin fan?
I mean, I did this whole song and dance. Anyone that paid attention, I think last year, maybe the year before, I did this whole dog and pony show about Pavin Smith, and he's going to be amazing, and he's this, and the barrel percentage, and he was Jock Peterson versus lefties and all that, and it's like he's got a lot of that stuff, but he is a straight platoon player. He does hit the ball hard. He gets it in the air. He pulls it. He doesn't mess up, but he makes poor contact. His zone contact rate went from 85% the year prior down to 75%. Huge dramatic drop year over year. So I don't have high hopes. He'll have like a couple week stretch that'll be really cool, but I'm not a firm believer anymore.
Yep, totally understandable. All right. This is the one that I'm really curious about because you mentioned with Blaze Alexander out of town. It might, maybe, sort of, kind of, don't know if they really want to. Let it be Jordan Lawler time because every chance he had last year, they'd call him up and never play him. Now they're talking about playing him in the outfield. So this could be a whole new world for Jordan Lawler. At one point, one of their higher prospects, and who knows where it's going to land. But if you like him, his ADP is 360. If we find out he's going to start every day, that might go higher. Welsh, what are your thoughts on Jordan Lawler? Because I know some in the prospect game have just given up.
So it's super cool that he's going to get an opportunity now, perceivably. But we're going to talk about a prospect that could take it. But here's the problem. He's not very good. And that is a problem that takes many players away from it. They talked about this last year quite a bit, where one of the first words, I think it was Mike Hazen, that was like, when Jordan Lawler will tell us when he's ready. Guess what? He never told them, and they forced it. He never pushed his way in. Lavello even talked about it after a stretch, I think, when they sent him down, and they just said he needs to learn to hit sliders, is pretty much what they were saying, that he was unable to. And guess what? He was unable to. He hit 229 against fastballs, 130 against breaking, 125 against off-speed pitches. He actually did hit sliders. Now that I'm looking at this, it was sweepers he couldn't hit. He hits a 333 against sliders, but an expected 168 against those sliders. Sweepers, he hit 100 with an expected 141. Couldn't hit curveballs, couldn't hit cutters. Well, guess what? Sweepers and cutters are the whole new trend of baseball, and those are pitches that he had not adjusted to. So what he does well is he can hit the ball hard when he wants to. That didn't show up on his stats. He pulled the crap out of the ball. He got the ball in the air, but he doesn't make good contact. Strikeout rate was abysmal. He does not have good pitch recognition. Could that have changed? It could, but we don't have all that we have going for us is the talent of what he got drafted and opportunity right now. He has shown nothing. Dude had 3 years of prospect eligibility. I had to keep him on my prospect list for 3 years because he couldn't get the playing time through. He's had massive injuries. He's only 23, so I don't want to discount him. Does Jordan Lawler have the stuff to be a 2020 guy? Absolutely. He can run. He can hit for some power. He just doesn't hit consistently. I really don't know if he's going to be able to hold on to that job. Athletically, he's fine. I think there's a potential that the Diamondbacks are out looking at other guys right now. Tim Tawa's super annoying. They've got a prospect in the wings who's going to get an opportunity. I'm still a little surprised that Jordan Lawler wasn't traded for a bullpen piece, and I know they did it for Blaze Alexander. They want more. I still think there is an opportunity that could happen, and I think the Diamondbacks need to strike soon. I'm out on Jordan Lawler. Opportunity, super cool if you guys want to do it. I don't think the 35% K percentage, low barrel, low contact rates are really worth what could bounce back, because what would have to change is something we couldn't have counted for, that we don't even know about. It's otherworldly change in his profile that he has shown off for multiple years. So pretty firm out on Jordan Lawler.
Yeah, as Ryan and I call him on our Above on the Bloom, Tim the Toolman Tawa, by the way. Yeah, Boggs, what are you on simpatico here with Welsh, or do you actually like Lawler?
I think he likes him.
No, yeah, I don't. Lawler's a guy that will climb up boards if he just crushes spring, right? Because if he crushes spring, it's like, okay, well, left field is yours until Lourdes comes back. And if you hit well, we're going to put him at DH and keep you out there. I think that is the thing. So opportunity, like Welsh said, is there for him. Will he follow through and pounce on it? It's kind of S or get off the pot time for him, right? Like that's what we're going to get. I think you're going to know where he's going to be early in the season based on spring training. This is one of the dudes that I think his spring training performance matters more for him than it does for most other guys, even like borderline rosterable guys. I think his stock is going to rise, is going to live and die by what he does early in the spring too. Like if he crushes it the first 2 weeks, then great. But if he comes out and he's 0 for 16 to start the spring, he's coming off everybody's board.
If he is S or get off the pot, the Diamondbacks need to bidet him out of there. I can guarantee you that. The bidet themselves of Jordan Lawler for any relief pitcher.
Get a garden hose.
Get him out of there. Send him to the White Sox. There's lots of bidets there.
All right, let's talk about Alec Thomas, because for a while it was always like, is it Alec Thomas? What platoon are we doing? They trade one of his contemporaries in Jake McCarthy to Colorado to kind of clear some space here. We know Thomas can run, and he can run a lot.
Can't hit.
A little pop too. He's got it. I think there's a lot to like with Thomas. I'm curious if this is the one you're talking about, Welsh, because his ADP's 530, and I've been taking him in draft and holds quite a bit.
No, he can't hit. I love Alec Thomas.
Can't hit.
No, he can't. He's incapable. I mean, he has had an under 300 OBP for 3 straight seasons. He had over 400 bats. He showed a little power, a little bit of stolen base, a little bit of that, but it doesn't grow. Like we haven't seen growth. He had a decrease in his hard, decrease in his hard hit percentage. He has never had a launch angle over 5 degrees. So he is incapable of lifting the ball. And that is just like such a big key in baseball now. You can't pull the ball in the air when you can't get it in the air. And he has never really been able to. You can make arguments that like, he hasn't had the consistent, but he had like 400 plus at bats last year. I think he's awesome. He's a Gold Glove defender. He is like quintessential 90s type of baseball. It's like you gotta have that one guy that's absolutely worthless at bats, but he's just like the greatest defender, and he's like every 11-year-old's favorite player. Like that's Alec Thomas. And Alec Thomas, by the way, is like the nicest human. I've interviewed him. I love him. He's the best, but he just can't hit. If you want to make a bet that things could improve a little bit now that he's got the playing time, he has less like breathing down his neck and stuff. Yeah, you could do, but what is it? 15-15? I think in a
that ADP
drafting.
is awesome.
But if you're drafting 6 or 7 or 800 players, like, okay, sure. But I think for anything outside of like some monstrous NFBC league, I just don't really see the worth.
Yeah.
You're going to cut him. You're going to cut him.
They're going to cut him.
Yeah.
No, you're going to cut him. You are going to dump him.
You actually,
yeah, you will dump him.
No, you don't draft him in a fab league. He's a waiver wire streamer.
Yeah, I mean the batting average is just tough. The lack of pop is tough. And he's going to be hitting low in the lineup, as we mentioned before. He's right now projected to hit 9. Where else would you hit Alec Thomas, right? Like, and this isn't the lineup it was even 2 years ago. So I love Alec. He'll always have the homer off Craig Kimbrell. I'll always love him for that. But the reality is rough right now for him. I hope it changes. He's another guy that could go one way or the other in terms of draft based on his spring performance, right? Like if he starts hitting for average and he looks good, he will obviously shoot up. But I mean, that's the best case scenario for him, is he gets hot in spring training and he raises up and is actually draftable in some spots. Because right now, like Welsh said, outside of those deep leagues, where you're pushing past 30 rounds, you're not taking out.
He just can't hit lefties. Like he probably is getting closer to being like a better platoon player with like so if you're on the wrong side of the platoon, you got to right like a Randall Grichuk type of guy comes in and then you have him come in the 7th. Like that's what he's played for. He can't hit lefties. He just isn't consistent hitter, but he's like one of the best defenders out there. So you need those type of guys in your team. He's a better real life fourth outfielder that if you have a really strong offense, which I think the Diamondbacks think they have, that's why you can put him in the lineup and why you can, kind of roll with him. Like Jake McCarthy was a fine defender, pretty suboptimal offensive bat. And you just move on. Like they needed to consolidate at some point because the Diamondbacks also have like a multitude of guys that could end up going in the outfield. So Alec is cool. I'm with you. I hope you're right about that. But there's like it is year after year after year of just inconsistencies. If he ever was more than a 15-15 guy, I would be pleasantly shocked and tell you how glad I am to be wrong.
Good. Boggs, let me ask you about Carlos Santana, one of the other new additions. The hot corner got some two old guys hanging out there. The third base, first base. You guys got corner infield situated here. Carlos Santana comes over to be apparently a babysitter. I'll just leave it there. What are your thoughts on Carlos Santana taking over? Like Goldie was available.
Yeah, take somebody else. Honestly, that's what take somebody else. I mean, what are we holding out? He's gone from 240 to 238 to 219, from 23 to 11 homers on 124 games last year. Like everything we said about Nolan Arenado slowing down is true with Carlos Santana, except he's 4 years older. So, if he gets on a nice streak, then great. But you're looking literally at 50 guys before you're looking at Carlos Santana at first. So,
he's not. There's really nothing there. Like, could he be what he was in 2024? 23 homers, 230, 240. Like, that's in the realm of possibility. But why it's not is he's here to platoon. That's why Goldie's not here. Goldie didn't want to platoon, even though hilariously, like
he's going to platoon with the
he's like going to, but like he wanted more money. He didn't want to platoon. He wanted full time, and the Diamondbacks just made a commitment to just being like, we want a right-handed bat. There's some babysitting leadership out there that can help complement a guy like Pavin. So it's just, this is going to be
spend the rest of that money in the bullpen for the D-backs.
Well, they don't have any more money. That's the problem. There's no real like perceivable money that's going to be out there.
Well, if you were considering 10 for Goldie at all, then you sign Carlos for 1.5 and then you spend 8.5 on the bullpen.
But they weren't considering. It was never a consideration. Like they sent 2 to Santana. Everything is going to be deferred. If the Diamondbacks get a relief pitcher, because there's nothing available left, it's through a trade. Bye, Lawler. Peace out. The only thing I think they do sneaky is Gallen, which I don't. Did you guys see that ridiculous, like weird fake tweets that were out there today? There's someone just reported Zach Gallen signed a 3-year deal, and dude, our a guy I used to work with, Mike Jarecki, fell for it. And Jarecki, who used to be a big sports guy out here, was like, Zach Gallen has signed with the Pot, and everyone's like, this is an absolutely fake report that's floating out there that the Diamondbacks could do some type of deferral move with them or whatever. But yeah, they just wanted some platoony guy that they can kind of put out there for righties versus lefties with Pavin. They're going to implement probably 2 platoon positions. I think it'll be left field and it's going to be first base. Those will be continuous platoons once they have the right personnel. But Carlos Santana should just not be in your guys' like draft queue really ever.
Any bench bats to keep in mind? We'll talk prospects later, but any bench bats that you guys are looking at
that are worthwhile? I mean,
if Adrian Del Castillo got a bunch of at bats, that'd be great.
I love ABC.
Yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, he's just never going to get at bats.
Well, if they DH him, if he gets an opportunity,
but they still platoon him. It's annoying. Just play the freaking kid. I know.
Yeah, but the Diamondback, like Lovello, has become so annoying. He's like really obsessive about platoons, and he does just weird stuff. But that's why I'm very over it with him. Yeah. But yeah, that's you. I think you picked the one. I think that's Del Castillo is probably like the actual, if non-prospect, that probably has the most like weight. You're not gonna like. There's nothing with Jorge Barrosa. Like, don't worry about that. But Del Castillo could have some value.
All right, let's head to the mound. Merrill Kelly, who has been pretty much an ace outside of Gallen, around 184 innings last year. He's had 177 or more in 3 out of 4 seasons. In those 3 seasons, basically 3.5 ERA. Strikeouts are fine, not great, but fine. And the best part is ADP's 238. Boggs, we'll start with you. It's like, I know he's getting older. Do you trust it to keep going? But he's been a workhorse time and time again. Are you in or out on Merrill Kelly going into this season?
I'm in. I've got him at like 62 in my starting pitchers. ERA was good. The whip is fine. He'll get you some strikeouts. He is going to have some cramping issue. Like he just has that at this point. And it was like every start, midway through the year in Arizona. I think they've gotten a better handle on that, but yeah, he's just a decent pitcher. I wasn't sure. I really didn't think he was going to have this again a couple years in a row, but he's been consistent for like 2 or 3 seasons in a row. I think he's good enough to be a low end starter.
Welsh.
I think we should give a little bit of extra credit to some of the Diamondback starters, which are very few and far between of who you can really roster. Because one thing you got to stare at is look at that defense. Carlos Santana, good defender. Nolan Arenado, great defender. Perdomo, great defender. Cattell, pretty good. That is a great infield. Outfield,
Gabby's won a Gold Glove too. Yeah.
Corbin Carroll, Alec Thomas. They've got 2 great catches. This team, this is like a Seattle Seahawks type of team. They're built around defense. Like they're going to have their offensive moments, but they're built around this plus defense. So by virtue of that, like I think there's a lot of protection as long as you don't have like Zach Gallen like moments at the beginning of last year where you're just serving up freaking meatballs left and right. Your change up just 83 in the zone and just cry. Remember my old Caleb Smith video that I have on my Twitter where it's like, don't put it up 89 and up or 91 and up. Fernando Tatis. Like if they don't do that, they've got such good defensive support. And presumably we think there's some solid, at least at the top of the lineup. I think churning through the back half of the lineup isn't a struggle, but if the top half of the lineup scores, you could have some decent run support. So I think if you're playing quality start leagues, I think Merrill Kelly gets like an even extra boost. 22% K percentage was an increase. Even his expected ERA, which was higher than his ERA, was still just better than it had been the previous year, which was closer to 5. Like he still puts up like solid innings. He's going to put you in opportunity for wins. He's better in quality starts because it's the worst bullpen in baseball. And if you get on the bad side of the run support, that could be out there. But just understand like that defensive support could really lead to like a lot more of these starters getting to 5, getting to 6, maybe getting quality starts. And Merrill is just a really good value. So like of who I would invest in the starters, it's probably only him and then the next guy we're going to talk about.
Perfect. Let's talk Ryan Nelson, who he's only 28 years old. We've seen the improvements the last few years. Ratio can continue to drop. He keeps throwing, 150, 155 innings last year. K to walks around 15%. Really finished strong, it felt like he's kind of saw a different mix towards the end there for Nelson, which gave a little optimism, I think, to maybe take another step forward to why you might be interested. Welsh, we'll start with you. His ADP is around 272 right now, which I think is, if you're going to take a stab at somebody, that's not a bad price tag. So what are your thoughts on Ryan Nelson?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. He had a 3.68 ERA in the pre-All-Star break, and then post was 3.09. I mean, he was able to keep his ERA like pretty substantial the whole time, never really getting blown up too crazy hard. Slight K percentage increase. The workload from being like a reliever to a starter was kind of a big move, but he saw some increase in his fastball. His cutter seemed to be a bit more effective this year, even though he kind of dipped it down. I just feel like he found his stuff, and he had some, strikeout performances to me that were like, leading to some pretty good spots. 22% K percentage on his 4-seam. Slider had an almost 30% K percentage, and his curveball 23%. His cutter did nothing, but it's like the cutter set up the other secondaries as well as the fastball, which made it pretty good. Probably one of the best fastballs in the Diamondbacks lineup in general. So I think there's like another little step up for Ryan Nelson, and ERA and expected ERA both under 4. Like I'm kind of optimistic about him as like a really good late rounder. Probably going to end up being like a streamer type of guy. Deeper leagues you hold on to. Shallower leagues, like, if he's got a good 2-start week, he's going to be like one of the hottest pickup guys. But again, that really good defense might make him a much better starter than we're giving credit for. This is not a great, if Gallen comes back, I'm already fully back in on Gallen. I think it really kind of changes the scope of where the pitchers can go because the rest are really, really rough. But I think Ryan Nelson is like, he kind of has a real definition of a sleeper, except he had like a 3.5 ERA last year. But I think he's still being like slept on for this season.
You just as excited, Bugs?
Yeah, I mean, Ryan Nelson, he did overperform a little bit last year, but like you said, way better in the second half. There was a point last year where Gallen was getting smashed and Merrill Kelly was having cramps every start and leaving in like the 4th or 5th. So he
Weren't
was
they sending him pickles, by the way? I think there was a report that people were sending pickle juice to the Diamondbacks.
I mean, he was getting everything they possibly could give, and he was just still cramping up. But with Ryan Nelson, he was the ace of this pitching staff for a big chunk of the year. last year. And I think you really saw him buckle down in the second half when he went, all right, it's kind of on me at this point. So hopefully he comes in with that attitude again, because he was great. And he's a very good starter that you're getting, right around pitcher number 75. So love that. Let's keep that rolling as like a 6 or 7 starter for you.
Now, a pitcher I've had high hopes for, and I'm starting to lose all hopes for, is Brandon Pfaadt. Back-to-back seasons of 176 innings or more, which is great. Strikeouts dropped a ton last year. Still has a problem with the long ball. Strikeouts dropped below 20%, which is horrific for the profile. He's kind of a Bailey Ober-esque profile. His ADP's dropped down to 375 now, so no one's paying for him. Boggs, thoughts on Brandon Pfaadt?
So sweaty.
Yeah, I mean, if your league has redness of face as a category, he's your number 1 overall draft pick, right?
Ounces of sweat, he's your leader.
Yeah, but I'm with you, man. This stuff wasn't good. Like, even his stuff plus numbers were down below 100 this year, pitching plus on 101. Like, his Sierra shows that he's a way better pitcher, but his xERA was also tough at 5.45. Just, I don't know. I'm probably not buying in on Pfaadt again. Like, he's still young enough to where if he has a big turnaround, he'd be like, okay, nice breakout for Brandon Pfaadt finally here. And we know it's in there because he's led the minors in strikeouts before. It just has not translated. He just continues to be a quad A player, and that's tough.
What about you, Welsh? Are you out on Pfaadt now too?
Yeah, I mean, I was the big fodder out there for a couple years, and it's just, we've done all of the dance, like I can definitely get excited about, specific dudes that like have like this working that's starting to, click. It's like, oh, like with the hitters, it's like, I'm going to drive line and stuff like that. Brandon Pfaadt, it was like, okay, we're going to add this mix. Then it was like, now we're going to move on this part of the mound. Like, we've done the dance. We've done all of the dance.
It's going to be crystals this year.
Yeah, please. You know what? And honestly, start doing some crystals. Like, I was just in New Orleans. Use some voodoo doll. Do whatever you got to do. I love that the walk percentage has dropped, but it's also come with an absolute decrease of strikeouts. He's super inconsistent, gives up homers left and right. I mean, there really isn't even a month you can point out except April. Like, April was really slick. He looked like, holy crap, it's going to be elite again. And he fell apart, and he ended up having an over 5 ERA in both sides of baseball. Here's one of the craziest splits I think I've seen. He had a 3.24 ERA at home. I would mind you again, this is like for right-handed hitters, the second most hitter-friendly environment. It's also just a general righties and lefties, a hitter-friendly environment. He had an elite ERA. He had 84 strikeouts to 20 walks with a 1.17 whip. If you got that version of Brandon Pfaadt over an entire season, 97 innings at home, 3.24, holy crap. You spread that out, that dude is going to be like a top 30 SP. But he had an over 4 earned run increase on the road, a 7.71 ERA. I swear to God, I don't think there's a crazier pitcher split out there. And we're talking about like Colorado pitchers. That is a 4.5 earned run increase on the road this year in 79 innings. That's berserko. So what's going on the road where he is completely unable to pitch effectively? I think there's stuff in there. This dude led the minors in strikeouts. He's got a nasty ass sweeper. He can do some stuff, but it never clicks. No one has got it to click. It feels like they've tried everything. I haven't heard of any of the new fixes out there, so I just don't know what it is. It's an insane split. Maybe it regresses a bit and becomes like more normalized, but there's nothing to hold out like the hope of Brandon Pfaadt anymore.
I'm looking at just his game log where he got crushed. Last game of the year, gave up 7 at San Diego, gave up 7 at Detroit, gave up 6 at Atlanta, gave up 6 at Philly. So like his big blowups were all on the road last year. He had one where he gave up 6 at home, but yeah, one where he gave up 6 at home, but the rest were all those were on.
Bubba, do you remember a guy getting that many 160 plus innings and having a 4 earned run differential between home and road, whichever direction? I don't recall seeing that in God knows how long. Maybe ever. There probably is, but I just don't recall.
Like I'm sure Colorado guys get it, but outside of Colorado,
not even that big.
Hey guys, check this one out. If you want to get even better about the home run splits, gave up 26 home runs total last year, 22 on the road.
I mean, that's insane.
That's ridiculous.
That's an insane number. But that's the type of number, by the way, that's so stupid that like you could drink yourself into believing that Brandon Pfaadt could actually be good. Because how are you so good at home? Your strike, I mean, you're still not like a 9K per 9 guy. Your strikeouts are still a little bit low, but you're just so locked in at home. You're not giving up the homers. He would have these games where he'd go like 6 and give up 1 hit, but then on the road, you just get all sweaty and obliterated. Like, I don't know what he needs is humidor. Like, I don't know what the thing is with him on the road, but it seems so asinine that there's almost a way that like he could be a serviceable pitcher. But his stuff also, he's not like, like Dylan Cease. Like Dylan Cease, we're like, ooh, or Blake Snell, we'd like, look at that walk number. But he's striking out 33% or 30% of the time. He doesn't have that. So he doesn't have the extra things to hold on to make us feel good. But I could definitely I could wake up in a stupor and be like, maybe Brandon Pfaadt is good, but that's an insane split.
See now I'm starting to believe he's still good. This is the problem. But at worst,
don't do it, Bubba.
No, just at worst, keep the splits in the back of your mind for streaming purposes. Like maybe there's something there. So
yeah. Throw at the end of the deep draft. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
He's like the anti, what was it, Kyle Freeland? It's like you can't start him at home and you start him on the road, and he's the anti Kyle Freeland. I mean, all right,
I'm going to group these last two together because for the most part, I'm kind of interested in one, but not really. We got Eduardo Rodriguez as an ADP of 530. The new Michael Soroka ADP of 405. Came back and pitched a little bit out of the bullpen after his shoulder injury with the Cubs. Boggs, we'll start with you. What are your thoughts on the back end of the rotation in Erod and Soroka?
Hard pass. No, thank you. Erod has just been rough. I was excited when the D-backs signed him. I thought, hey, here's a lefty in the lineup. He's been pretty good in the rotation. He's been pretty good for Detroit. Maybe he'll come over and do something for us. He's been miserable. Soroka, I don't know. Like, the reason I don't like Soroka is because they signed Gallen. Soroka's bad in his first 3 starts. They move him to the bullpen, right? So I'm just really not interested in either one of those guys.
About you, Welsh?
Not really. Definitely not Eduardo's just... He's the most frustrating player on the planet where it's like, hey, look, he's got 7 strikeouts or 2 and 2/3. And then it's just obliterated. Like,
we got 8 strikeouts, but he gave up 6.
Yeah. There's just nothing for Eduardo anymore. Soroka's, I don't know, maybe a streamer, but nothing that you should be drafting. I don't think anything in any capacity you should be drafting. So there's a lot of the Diamondback accounts are out there showing us all the pitchers that are still floating out and available. There's just so little in the bullpen market that I think there's a world where the Diamondbacks could go to Soroka. He did sign as a starter. He wants to be a starter. They could potentially go to him and be like, what do you think about closing? What if we could get you to close? And then they do sign a Gallen, or, maybe they go and try to get like some cheap contract on I don't know, maybe not Giolito, maybe Scherzer, maybe bring him back to Arizona. Like, I think that's a possibility because it just seems like the bullpen options are so bad that maybe you try to move a Soroka back into it and bring a 5th starter in, but you don't want these guys. You don't want either one of them.
All right, the moment I think we've been teasing long enough, everyone's been waiting for the Diamondbacks closing situation. Better Call Saul Frank has landed on the IL for the rest of this already for the season, not the rest of for the season.
Early exit cash out.
You have Kevin, he ginkles down his leg as a potential option. They traded for Cade Stoward. I've heard Jonathan Loaisiga's name mentioned. You guys have the floor. Whoever wants to take it. What's going on? Who's closing games in Arizona?
You can go, Boggs. I think we both know Troy Lovullo is going to say Ginkle. He's going to say Ginkle. He's obsessed with Ginkle. He'll get the first opportunity. I guess I'm going I don't think the number one closer is on this team. And I also don't think you're going to have a Diamondbacks closer that saves 20 games. I think it is going to be a mix. Once Martinez and Puck are around, maybe they're going to be babied into it, but those guys are going to get high leverage. Lovullo also, he 100% would go with like rotations. Their bullpen is so bad. He will go with hot hand stuff. It's going to suck. Your best bet, if you are a masochist, would be Kevin Ginkle at this point. But the market stinks. The Diamondbacks don't seem to be willing to trade Jordan Lawler for anything. So I think it'll be some combo of like a, a Ginkle, and honestly, he throws out Ryan Thompson out there a whole bunch, or Thomas or whatever. Like that's annoying. It's Thompson. So I think it'll be one of those two guys, but bet on Ginkle, but really like almost draft any other closer on any other team except, Colorado.
I mean, you wouldn't want to take Victor Vodnik? I might take Victor Vodnik.
I just took him in a DC as my third closer, so like I'm not opposed to it.
It's bad, man. Like, I think maybe Christian Mena should get a shot. Like, but he's also
Dre
like
Jameson. This might be his chance. No,
Dre really wants to. Dre actually was like really dramatic about it. I had to tell you, this didn't look good in the AFL.
Not good.
It was not good. His stuff wasn't quite there, but maybe it was still him trying to get healthy and get innings under him. But I would say if there's one player that is he's the most motivated, because he said, if I'm not a starter, I want to be a closer. So I do agree with what you're saying. I just don't know if he still has it, because he definitely was getting lit up by some of those AFL dudes. Like that spark isn't there like it used to be with Dre.
Yeah, this is another position where like spring is going to determine who is the closer. And if Ginkle is within striking distance, like Welsh said, he will absolutely hand it right to Kevin Ginkle. And Ginkle is a guy that he can't go between innings either. I feel like every time he enters in for an out or 2 outs and comes back out, he gets shelled. So he's a 1 inning and done guy anyway. So I think it's probably going to be Ginkle leading this team in saves by the end of the year, but you don't want anybody in the bullpen now. You want to wait and see how Justin Martinez, AJ Puck look at the end of this year and going into next year. That's what you want.
And that's a good point. You'll get Puck and Martinez back late. You should get Corbin Burns back late. Like, there's guys coming back eventually on this team. But let's talk prospects, guys that might have a good spring or might be able to take jobs early, so on and so forth. So we'll go with the prospect guy, Bogman. Welsh.
Welsh,
what are your thoughts on some prospects that could have an impact this season?
The number one prospect everyone should be paying attention to is Ryan Waldschmidt. That's the guy that's the most interesting that we were talking about before. Waldschmidt, I think, will be given. I gotta be honest with you. They're gonna say it's a real opportunity. I feel like they're going to lie to us, and they're not going to actually give it to him, and they're going to give it to Lawler and Tim Tawa and probably some other guy, and they'll just be like, he did really great, and he did everything we asked of him, and hopefully we'll see him in the near future. Like that, like copy that, save that, and then put that into the end of spring. But Ryan Waldschmidt is the most interesting of any of these guys. 18 homers, 29 stolen bases, had an over 400 OBP last season across 2 levels in the minors. He did only get to AA, which definitely is going to be one of those. They're going to use Lawler as like the card of like, well, we don't want to rush him. He would be the most interesting of all of them. Boggs, I'm going to sneeze.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I like Ryan Waldschmidt. They are going to give a lot of guys looks in spring. So who else is going to be there in spring, Welshie?
Yeah, sorry, the sneeze. The other one, I don't know if I'm getting sick or it's the allergies.
I've been battling stuff for like a week. So
I got sick, and then we went to New Orleans, and my wife is like, "Don't bring back anything."
Y'all with your kids.
It might have
no sickness here.
Yeah, I don't know which direction it's going.
It's cats.
I legitimately think that one of the reasons the Diamondbacks were even more considering the move of Ketel Marte is the development of Tommy Troy. Tommy Troy is going to be, he's just going to be a second baseman. Like, he's listed as a shortstop. He doesn't have, I just don't think he's an outfielder. It's not based on his size. He's like a bulky, smaller guy. He's like 5'8", 5'9", probably in the 200 plus pound, really good bat speed, 15 homers, 24 stolen bases. He hit 289 this past year. Him and Waldschmidt played a decent amount together, but then he went and played in the PCL where he dominated in the PCL. Like, so Tommy Troy is really interesting. If something happens in the middle infield, I think that's your first step. Ryan Waldschmidt's the number one. And in the pitching market, they've got quite a few fascinating guys. I think the most interesting is Mitch Bratt. They got him in the Merrill Kelly trade, which is hilarious. They got 3 really great pitching prospects from Merrill Kelly from the Rangers, and then Merrill's back. Mitch Bratt definitely is a guy I think we could get in a bullpen pretty soon. Cole Drake is someone they could, I wonder if he would go more bullpen. And they've got like a couple other guys if things really go south. Daniel Egan is another one I like. But the order here would probably be Ryan Waldschmidt by a large degree. The second degree would be Mitch Bratt, maybe Cole Drake if you're in those bigger leagues, and then Tommy Troy needs something to change. Those are, I think, the 4 most relevant prospects on the Diamondbacks right now that can get playing time. With Waldschmidt, like if they struggle early and Lawler kind of stinks out in the outfield and they didn't bring anybody up and Waldschmidt's at AAA and he's going, I think I'll bring him up soon. I think Lovello, they'll give us lip service about how he has an opportunity to get it, and then they'll take it away from us and they'll just be like, he did a great job, and buck up, Chup. It's going to be awesome. You're going to get it someday. And then it's just they're going to give an opportunity for Lawler to strike out 38% of the time. So,
yeah, Martin Sokolsky does a lot of work with us at Bubba and the Bloom, and he's mentioned Waldschmidt a few times. I like the appeal of that bat.
He's a really interesting dude too, like pretty intense guy, like really good high contact hitter. We might legitimately be looking at like 5 tools. He's not like I don't think he's like in quite the same build as some of these other guys. Like, the Diamondbacks consistently have like these like 5'9", outfielder, infielders. He's 6'2", 200. He can hit for power. He can run some. I think the on-base skills are going to kind of continue. I mean, the dude walked 96 times, struck out 106, walked 96 times across 2 levels. Like, this is an advanced college bat.
Who does he think he is? Geraldo Perdomo? Come on.
Yeah, but also like there's legitimate power. He's the type of guy that could be like a number 4 hitter for this team in the very near future if they give him.
You guys had a Schmidt like that in your lineup before.
Yeah, I mean, and can you imagine if we would have had Goldie and Wald, the Goldie Waldschmidt? Oh. We're gonna get no Schmitz. We're gonna be Schmidt out of luck. Schmidt out of luck.
Schmidt out of luck.
Season.
Schmidt out of the bullpen. Schmidt out of luck. Schmidt out of the division. Last question I have for you guys. I'll start with Bogman, and then Welsh. You can feel free to answer after him. I ask every guest this: what are your expectations for the 2026 Diamondbacks?
81 wins, like go 500. Next year when you get Corbin Burns back, you get those bullpen pieces back. Hopefully you get development out of either Lawler or Waldschmidt, right? I think next year is the year where this team is pushing for the division when they get their ace back and their bullpen back. This year is probably a developmental year for a lot of guys. So 81 wins, maybe you push your chips in if you're looking a little bit better than that, or you sell off if you're looking a little worse than that. Pretty much what 2025 was.
I'm worried that this team is going to have a pretty big struggle in the first half. I'm open to the possibility because, they got the firepower at the top of the lineup. They've got a great defense, that maybe some things could go their way. But what I'm worried about is this team is going to have a first half struggle. They're going to get Burns. They're going to get Martinez. They're going to get Puck back. They'll try to make a little bit of a run, but I think they're going to fall short, just a little bit short of 500. I think it's always a tough division, but the Padres still have their firepower. The Dodgers are just a different class. And you're down on your Giants a little bit, but I think your Giants are in a better spot. They're like a tier above the Diamondbacks, or at least they're in the same company as the Diamondbacks. So I think the Diamondbacks are going to kind of, they've always had the little rallies, the rally snakes or whatever the hell they do. Like they kind of like just almost get close and they're in it in the final week. I'm not sure. I think there might be sellers at the trade deadline, and then they get these pieces back that it's going to be like, oh, this might work out. I just don't know if they're going to have it in them to like take series away from the Dodgers or take series away from the Padres this time. They're going to need a lot of things to go positively. And Lourdes, that's another one. There's just like so many injuries this team has been hit with. No one's going to blame them either. Like there's not going to be this like public outcry of like, oh my God, can you believe this failure? They're spending all this money. And it's like, okay, well, there's like, $300 million.
3 Tommy John surgeries.
Yeah, like Corbin and your closers and one of your best outfield, your best hitters. It's like they've got their hit on every aspect of their, whether it's their offense, whether it is their starting pitching or their bullpen. Like no one's going to blame them. I think they're just trying to piece stuff together. And frankly, had they traded Ketel, don't you think we would be talking a little bit like maybe the Diamondbacks are soft rebooting? I think there would be a lot more like they're trying to kind of compete, but they're also revamping a little bit. It just didn't happen. And then they brought in, the Arenados and Santanas of the world. I think they're doing enough to appease people, get them to come to the stadium, but I think they're going to be a little bit worse for the wear than the previous years.
Yep. I think that's it's going to be interesting because we're always down on our own teams, and the D-backs find a way to make it interesting every year. Giants find a way to at least long enough to keep our hopes up before it falls apart.
The rally backs. That's what they call them. The rally.
And I think we're always so down on our teams because there is that team that wears blue and white in our division. That's just the juggernaut of all juggernauts.
How are we supposed to be positive too?
I know it's tough.
Everyone in baseball is complaining. Yeah, we're in the division with them. You know,
we get to
it's
live
like
the
the division's
life.
already just handed.
We
to
have
us.
to
It's
see them.
ridiculous.
Gross.
We're already playing for the
Disgusting.
wild cards, so that's always fun. But
Yeah, you're right.
what else is fun is always chatting with you guys, which is an absolute pleasure as usual. So before we head out of here, why don't you guys remind everybody where they can find you, what you guys got coming up?
You can go, Boggies. What do you got?
At Bogman Sports for me on the Twitter. I retweet all my work over there. Obviously, you can find me with the Welsh on In This League, inthisleague.com. We'll take you to our Patreon. And then over at Fantasy Pros, I'm doing the Dynasty Fantasy Football Podcast with Ryan Wormley and Pat Fitzmaurice over there on a weekly basis. So check that out. Got college football, and I'll have baseball pretty much everywhere. So lots of baseball coming up.
Yeah, I do some football at Fantasy Pros, but baseball is it's my love, it's my passion, it's my true love, and it'll be my everything for the next 6 months, no doubt. But follow me at Is It the Welsh. I got the Prospect Podcast, Prospect One, also Prospect Dynasty ranks, top 500 prospects, top 400 Dynasty, over 100 first-year player, and I got my Prospect ADPs all on our Patreon at inthisleague.com. And like, I'm going out to camps. I'm going out to all the baseball camps out here, seeing players. Hopefully I'm going to get inside stuff. I'm one of the next week, this probably in a couple days when this airs, like I'm going to go to the White Sox and I want to see Murakami and see how he looks. And I'm going to try to share insights, probably videos, stuff will pop up. Instagram and Twitter, the same at Is It the Welsh. If you want to follow me, I'll try to put some stuff there. It'll show up on my podcast, In This League of Prospect One. And of course, over at Fantasy Pros, where I'm at the forefront of all the baseball stuff on Fantasy Pros for better or for worse. So check it out.
Yeah, Welsh does not stay away from camps. They try to get him to stay away, but he will not stay away. It's always
no, sir, in the bushes.
Yep, he's got plenty of.
Hey, everybody!
Up there. Yep, that's him.
We told you, sir. 100 feet away from Mr. Carroll.
Hey there, Muslim.
Exactly. But on that note, thanks as always, gentlemen. It's a pleasure. For some reason, if you're not following these guys, fix that. Two great guys, two guys I call brothers. So go check them out at ITL. But for now, this is Benched with Bubba, episode 831, your 2026 Arizona Diamondbacks preview. Catch you all next time.
Sweet.